Man, let's score a touchdown right here and win this game. Let's go. This is a grow-up moment right here for you young studs. Let's live.
The autumn wind might be a Raider, but December football is reserved for the Pittsburgh Steelers. With the game on the line, there is no better moment for a young black and gold offense to steep themselves in that rich tradition.
Pickett back on first down. Pass over the middle, and it's caught up near the 30-yard line by Najee Harris. Pickett in the gun. Four-man rush. Now he rolls, throws that pass, and it's caught by Freiermuth for the first down. And he takes on a defender and drags him up over the 47. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning timeout.
Let's go!
Out of the pocket, Chase throws the ball, and it's Freiermuth again, going back shoulder on the defender near sideline.
Muth catches it. He goes down. Yeah, he's got it.
Dumps it over the middle. That is Najee with a shake and bake. He breaks through tackles, breaks through another inside the 25, down to the 23-yard line.
Najee, such a horse, so strong, so powerful.
Everything in tight. Pickett under center. Now they push the pile, and they got it.
Here we go.
This pass is caught, and that's a touchdown.
That's the way to work. Come on.
He's hit and sacked. The Steelers win the football game.
Let's go! Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi everybody, welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. On one of the coldest nights in Pittsburgh football history, and just days after the unexpected death of Hall of Famer Franco Harris, the Steelers and Raiders went down to the wire. Kenny Pickett orchestrated a game-winning drive, and Cam Sutton helped seal the deal thanks to an interception to give the Steelers a 13-10 win on the same night they retired Harris's jersey. For more on Christmas Eve night, let's welcome in Bob Pompeani, who's with Coach Tomlin. Bob.
Hey, Missy, thanks very much. And boy, what a gift the Steelers gave to their Steeler Nation as well as the Franco Harris family. Boy, it was one of those nights, Coach, that I think everyone who went to that game felt the emotions that were there. And as a head coach, what was it like for you to go through it, and what was it like to deliver that win?
I think more than anything, I think during the course of the week leading up to the game, we all could anticipate it. And if you can anticipate it, then you can prepare the guys for it. And so we didn't want to resist it. We wanted to embrace it. We knew it was coming. And so it was a mindset. And I thought our guys did a really good job of soaking it up and embracing it and living in the moment, while at the same time being focused on the task at hand, which is making necessary plays to win the game and understanding our component of the celebration, which is to deliver victory. And so I thought our guys showed maturity beyond their years in terms of dealing with that component of it and staying focused and finishing the game.
I thought it was appropriate that Cam Hayward was the guy carrying the 32 flag, right? He tends to understand this. He's been here for a long time, so he knows the
Cam's
history.
the right man for just about all circumstances, and not only because of his experience, but just because of his leadership and his playmaking ability and his commitment to this organization, this community, and service. He's repeatedly our Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for those reasons, and those reasons are why he's a guy that's appropriate to bear the flag.
Is it surprising, a guy in his, heading to the mid-30s now? Normally you see careers kind of go the other way. His has seemed to have gone better, and he's better as the years have gone on.
I think it's probably more commonplace at the big man positions, the positions that he play, interior offense and defensive line, because of the lack of long grass running and things of that nature. They have an opportunity to extend their prime, if you will, and he's definitely done that.
Defense after that first drive, especially second half, I think it went punt, interception, punt. You can't get any better than that. How proud of you were this defense in that game?
I really was, but at the same time, I think we all acknowledge we can't start the game the way we started it. In a limited possession game like we anticipated, like we've been in really for several weeks. people that are playing behind their running game and trying to control time of possession like Baltimore is going to do this upcoming week. It is important that you play in those games from even or ahead, and the fact that we allowed them to start fast and put ourselves 7 points behind, that was the appropriate response to that start, no doubt.
76-yard drive, and I guess the key to it was all the young guys. The first and second-year players made all the plays in that. You had alluded to it in your press conference after the game, just how it was a growing experience. You can't replicate that in practice, can you? How important was that drive for those guys?
We work our tails off too. We do 2-minute a lot in team development. We continue it into the season because we realize that, every time you spot that ball and put them in those situational moments, there's so many nuances of the game and rules of the game and things and understandings to gain. And so when you're in those moments, man, they're precious. We've been in those moments a few times with that group. The cool thing about it is, we were able to recognize what type of moment it was. And just prior to taking the field, we all kind of gathered and talking about there's been a lot of growth in this unit. We have an opportunity to display it right now. And they went out and did that.
Talk about the touchdown-winning catch and throw. Right on the money. And Kenny Pickett, there was some indication from players that he was calling some of the plays, or at least more involved in that process, was he?
Well, we always are when we're working at pace. I think sometimes we make too much of a deal out of that component of it. Man, he's a part of the plan development process. The ball comes out of his hands. And so I just think it's reasonable that he's a component of the discussions, particularly in those moments when you get clock stoppages and time is of the essence and you're talking about the best players and the best plays in those moments. In that particular moment, we knew that they were going to have two people on Deontay. I think every, weighty moment in the second half of that game, they had two people on Deontay, and so we knew the plays were going to come from other people, and it did. GP ran a nice route. Kenny did a nice job holding that backside safety visually and putting the ball in a tight space.
And once again, the run game was really good. Najee Harris' first 6 or 8 games was 3.3, now it's up to 4.2. How much is that him just growing, or your offensive line, or together?
It's both. He's better than he was at the start for well-documented reasons. He missed a lot of time in preseason and team development with an injury, and we're gaining the type of cohesion up front that minimizes negativity. And when you minimize negativity, not only does it help your run game, but it's easier to remain committed to the run game. When you don't have 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12 for a variety of reasons, whatever they may be, when you stay on schedule, it furthers your commitment to the running game. And so really it's just all the variables kind of coming together for us.
Pretty fitting that on a tribute to a Harris night, was a big factor in the game.
It was, but Najee has to be a major component of everything that we do. And so, whatever environment we're in, whatever style of play you're talking about, our featured run has got to be a major component of it.
Real quick, do you like the hurdle, the Harris hurdle, or is that a dangerous thing? Because I've heard both sides of that.
Man, I don't stop athletes from doing natural things. I think sometimes we can overcoach. I've seen him do that on Alabama tape. I'd imagine he did it on high school tape. It's a natural act for him, much like Troy jumping over the line of scrimmage in short yardage circumstances. I think some things are for us to be appreciated. Sometimes we overcoach or we overanalyze, and we talk about player safety and all of that. These guys, man, they're outside. They're outliers just in terms of who they are, and their athleticism should be appreciated. And I think that that's an instance that's kind of an example of that.
Steelers coming off a big win. They have a big game on Sunday night. And once again, it's the Ravens and Steelers on a Sunday night. What else is new in the NFL? We'll talk about that and more. Big game coming up this coming Sunday. Missy, back over to you.
Yeah, that's right, Bob. It was a 1 o'clock game, but the NFL flexed it into primetime because who doesn't love Steelers and Ravens? Well, still to come later in our show, Merril Hoge draws up a playbook to demonstrate how the Steelers' run defense has improved since the team's first meeting with the Ravens. That and much more after this break.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Sunday will mark the start of January football for the Steelers, and the hope is to keep playing in the first month of the year for many weeks after that. Under Coach Tomlin, the Steelers are 7-1 in the regular season in the month of January, a league best since 2007. So for more on the Steelers' second matchup with the Ravens, let's send it back over to Bob and Coach. Guys.
Hey, Missy, thanks very much. And this will be another special Steelers-Ravens matchup. And it's so special. Sunday Night Football has flexed it once again. And this is going to be the 10th time these two teams have met on Sunday night. And, Coach, you and John Harbaugh, you've been around for a long time to get that kind of distinction.
I swear every time we should play should be primetime television. It just feels like it. It's just kind of how these two teams come together, particularly over the years. It seems like it's always those weighty moments. And so we don't take it for granted, man. It's an honor to be a part of it, and excited about playing.
You guys know each other very well. So tell me the advantages or disadvantages when you know each other well and you play each other twice a year.
You know, I think it's less about our relationship and it's more about the guys that play, because they're the guys that determine how the two groups come together and really are representative of the intensity of the matchup over the years. When John and I were young or new to our positions, it was guys like Hines Ward and Ray Lewis that set the pace, and now we got new generations of guys like TJ and Lamar Jackson who bear that torch, and we've been around for it all, no doubt. But I just like how the teams have changed over the years, but the competition has remained the same, and the significance of the games have remained the same.
Last time you guys played, they really used their run game, which is their identity. I know that, but what do you have to do to change that? Because you've had a lot of success last week, for example. Josh Jacobs limited to 44.
It goes beyond just specifically what we do as a defensive unit. It's also what we do in totality as an offensive unit, as a special teams unit. They play an attrition game. They play a limited possession game. They try to control field positioning and the clock. And so, you know, the Tucker component of it from a special teams perspective is a major component, and our ability to win possession downs on offense changes their urgency and limits their control of possession of the football. And so one thing we can be assured of, it's going to be a limited possession game. Points are going to be significant. We got points on the board. You can't take them off like we did last time we played them. We had 2 turnovers in the red area, and really that was the difference in the football game. And generally it is when these two teams come together. Last time we was up there, I think Hundley turned it over a couple of times in the red area, and we won that matchup. And so the point component of it is big. Red area defense, the turnover game, and obviously the ability to stop the run.
And Mark Andrews is always a big part of this as well. I would imagine in a run game, he can all of a sudden pop open in the middle of the field. How much of his focus will you get?
He is the central focus of the passing game. He's more than the number one tight end. He's the number one receiver. He's like Travis Kelce for Kansas City. You know, you put them in the box when you describe them as tight ends. What they are is the number one option for their quarterback. Similar to the young, talented guy in Atlanta as well. There's some hybrid, interesting tight end types in our game today that really control the middle of the field and get yards in chunks and display run after. And we have a developing one in Pat Freiermuth. And so we have an understanding of what he's capable of. We understand that a lot of the passing game ball is going to go through him. But we've been in the stadium with him a lot. Knowing it is just a component of it. We still got to make the plays and prevent him from making the plays.
How much has Roquan Smith helped them, generally, and Patrick Queen specifically?
Significantly. Their yards per carry and sub-package runs have been reduced by about a yard per carry. And base has been about 0.75 yards per carry. And so those are analytical, tangible reasons why. But you don't need the numbers. All you got to do is turn the tape on. He's a quality player. He's a great communicator. Seems like Queen is playing even better now that he has that partner. They're a formidable tandem, and he's been a significant addition, not only in terms of how they're playing defense, but how they desire to play ball, the attrition component of football that they desire to play.
All right, it's the Steelers and the Ravens coming up Sunday night. When we come back, we'll hear Coach Tomlin's keys to the game. Missy, right back to you.
Thanks so much, Bob. And Sunday night will mark Coach Tomlin's 40th road game in primetime, the most in the league since he became head coach. It's that time of the season where you want to be playing your best football, and the Steelers and Ravens defenses are making it difficult for their opposition. Baltimore has now surrendered 14 points or less in 6 of their past 7 games, while Pittsburgh has allowed 17 or fewer points in 5 straight. Now it's time for your Yinz Chat trivia question. Who has more interceptions in their Steelers career, Donnie Shell or Troy Polamalu? We'll tell you after the break.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Your Yins Chat trivia answer is Donnie Shell with 51 interceptions. Yins Chat is the Steelers' official predictive and trivia game. Answer questions, make picks, and win prizes. Play Yins Chat exclusively on the Steelers' official mobile app. Well, it's no secret the Ravens will want to run the ball on Sunday. In their first meeting this season, Pittsburgh gave up 215 yards on the ground to Baltimore. The good news, though, since then, the Steelers have given up just 79 yards rushing and allowed only 2.3 yards per carry. For more on their turnaround, let's send it over to Merril Hoge with this week's Playbook.
Hi everyone, welcome into the Factor Back Studios for the AccuSure Playbook. Round 2 against the Ravens. Now round 1 didn't go all that well for the defense. The run defense really struggled. And the Ravens attacked the bubbles of the 3-4. You might be going, well, what's the bubbles? Well, I'm going to show you what the bubbles are. They threw some wrinkles in there. The second go around, do I think that they can make some changes that will be effective? I actually do, and I'll show you that as well. But let's look at how the Ravens had success first. I mentioned the bubbles. You might be thinking, well, what's the bubble in a 3-4? I'm going to let them shift real quick. Okay, now once they shift, here's the bubbles of a 3-4. It's actually where the guards are uncovered. Those are the bubbles of a 3-4. So they did a really good job of getting doubles here on Cam, getting to the linebacker Bush, and then right over here. They stack backers, attacking them, and then their runner attacked the line of scrimmage quick. They really did a good job. They got a lot of big plays from this particular run and attacking the bubbles of a 3-4. You can see here at the snap, I mean, everybody gets off, does a super job, and nobody's getting off a block. And therefore, the runner has a beautiful little alley. Well, the next week, they play the Carolina Panthers. Now, how do they shut them down? Well, they give them different looks. Let the motion go across, look at all the shifting going on, and pre-snap, look at what happens. Well, you got 3-4 personnel, but where's your 3-4? Here's your down lineman, and here's your linebackers, all over here. They bring Edmonds into the box too as a safety, so that is a completely different look than they probably prepared for or practiced for. These are the things they can add in the Raven matchup. But watch what happens. TJ Watt does a great job on motion. I mean, he's already got penetration. Ogunjobi right across here, he's unblocked. These alignments confuse the blocking, and he did a great job of playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage. This is a great example, actually, of what the Steelers can do in the second matchup. I would expect them to change up a lot of those looks and have a lot more success against their run defense.
And don't forget, you can head to the Steelers YouTube page to check out more of Merril's playbooks from earlier this season. Well, the Steelers and Ravens rivalry is well documented. It's always physical and it's always a close game. The players may change, but the head coaches haven't changed in quite some time. And for more on tomorrow's matchup, let's send it over to Bob and Coach for your keys to the game presented by your neighborhood Ford store. Bob.
All right, Missy, Coach Tomlin, let's talk about the last time you guys met. It was a ground game, and they won that part of the game. What has to happen this week for that to change?
I think the start of this game is significant. The start doesn't determine the outcome of games, but it really kind of maybe determines the texture of a game, if you will. It's important that we start fast. We can't warm up to it in their primetime environment and allow their crowd to be a major component of the game. We make enough plays early, we can level that component of it. But at the same time, we don't want to give them a lead and play from behind as well, because that aids them in their style of play. So we're going to need some plays early. We have to move the ball and do some things on offense, maybe a splash play or two. I think about a couple of years ago on the first third down of the game, Robert Spillane picked off Lamar and ran it back for a touchdown. And that's what I mean when I'm talking about quelling that environment and neutralizing that component of play so that the play moving forward can determine the outcome of the game. I really think the start of the game is going to be significant in that way.
Talk about their defense, their ability to really shut down just about every opponent they play, it seems. They play low-scoring games. How important are their inside linebackers to what they do overall?
They got probably the best linebacker tandem in football with those two. Roquan has been a significant addition for them. But again, I think their skill set and their style of play gets highlighted when you're one-dimensional, and that's why it's important that the start of the game is what it is, and we don't allow ourselves to be in one-dimensional moments. They're really good. Not only those two, but them collectively are really good in one-dimensional moments.
This is going to be 33rd matchup between you and John Harbaugh. In this day and age of the NFL, that doesn't happen very often. What's it like to be, and to be specifically a guy that you know well? I don't know, are there any secrets anymore? How do you approach all that?
I just think the variables are so different each time you play, and the players and the things that are on the line. There's a lot of things that force you to have your attention in the here and now and the present. I'm not the type of guy that relishes past accomplishments. I know John didn't either, and so I doubt either one of us care about that. We are appreciative of the longevity component of what we do. Our peers get fired at a pretty good rate, and so we're doing some things right. But more than anything, I think he would agree, what makes this matchup special is the men that play the game and the number of special players that have been components of it, the gold jacket guys that have really kind of marked this series. And so that's the excitement that I look for each game with the young guys establishing themselves as significant players and making the type of plays that could potentially earn them a gold jacket in the future. I think those type plays are born in environments like this.
And I think people just generally love physicality, and you're going to get a heavy dose of it in this game.
Yeah, America's kind of bloodthirsty, but that's ball.
That's ball.
We aim to accommodate.
Well, it should be a fun game on Sunday night, and a very meaningful game for the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. And that's going to do it for our program. Coach, thanks very much. Wish you all the best, and we'll see you again next week. For Missy Matthews, I'm Bob Pompeani. Have a good week ahead. Look forward to the matchup, and we'll see you next week for another edition of the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.